Oh, it says we're live. No, it looks weird and different. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's because I've got the thing nearer to the thing. Hello. Welcome to Tuesday evenings.
Hello.
Rambly Ramble. Yeah, it's sort of like missing your shoulder because it's too far forward.
Oh, no, it's fine. Don't worry about the shoulder. It's fine.
Hello.
Thanks,
yes.
mate.
So it's Tuesday and it's Ramble time. So it's going to be something of the regular format, but not much of the regular format. And then Crimson's got a cunning plan for random 5-minute ramble topics for you guys to feed into the.
Well, this is provided.
Into the
this
chat.
Is provided you do it, guys.
Yeah.
So just a topic, any kind of topic. We've got questions in Discord, and if we've got any on here as well.
I would also encourage ramble topics for Crimson to ramble about for 5 minutes.
I did put that in the Discord, but
I would heavily encourage that.
I'm not sure I can talk for 5 minutes.
So, but before we go on to we have a yellow lobster moment. Super chat from Mick the Machine. Ramble for the Ramble Gods.
Yes, Ramble for the Ramble Gods.
Yes, there we go. We have installed the lobster. So what we will start with the usual what have we been doing hobby-wise for the last week. But it's quite quick, isn't it, this week? So there's not a lot going on hobby-wise.
Yeah,
there's been,
not a lot this week.
There's been other stuff happening. My folks came to visit last Wednesday, went home on Tuesday. Tuesday? No, today's Tuesday. Sunday. So had a few hours of hobby on Sunday afternoon, in which I finished painting my prosecutors and Knight Azeros and Knight something or other os with all the blue and white flashy wings and the curly scripts and all the other bits that make them really fancy and stuff. They, as ever, took longer than I anticipated. Maybe I should revise my my model. Maybe what I should do is write down how long something's going to take beforehand, and then write down how long it took afterwards, and then work out how far out I am. So, then scale it up. Who knows? Anyway, so that's all the hobby-wise I've done this last week. You've had a similar.
Yeah,
so I've
got a job. So excited! I've got a job.
Woohoo!
I've got a job. Somebody finally has been stupid. Somebody's finally seen my potential and given me a job. So yeah, I'm so pleased I've got a job. So thank you, thanks Moldis, thank you. So yeah, I'm over the moon. So I am officially, what am I?
Business development manager.
Yeah, a business development manager for a brand new business over in Glossop that needs somebody. Thank you guys. That needs somebody who is going to lead them in the right direction. But they couldn't find anybody, so they got me. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
Somebody who can manage the business development.
Somebody who can. That's what I thought it was. I'm glad you've explained it to me because I was getting all confused with it. Put something to do with construction, but it's not. It's not. It's a business development manager.
Yeah, good times,
yes,
good times.
So if anybody knows anybody that wants the business developed, bear me in mind. I am.
Your rates are very reasonable.
Reasonable rates. I do hope for an egg sandwich. No, not quite anything, obviously. And please don't put that as a topic. But anyway, thank you everybody that said congratulations. It's been a long time coming, and it's finally here. Yes, that's my news.
Yeah, so
So we have our first topic, and it is...
Okay, you want me to hit the button?
Hit the button. Lobsters!
Lobsters? Okay, well...
Lobsters. Go on, I'm your backing singer.
Lobsters, okay. So here's some useful...
Anybody that doesn't know, Paul's a marine biologist. Well, no, he did.
Paul has a degree in marine biology. That is very different.
But the topic really was, what's your favourite lobster? And not one you can eat.
Well, I don't have a favourite one in so much as I know what they all are anymore. I mean, or I don't know them personally, and I don't know what's called Gerald.
They're green, they're sparkly, they're yellow.
Well, what I can tell you is lobsters have two different types of claws. One is really strong for crushing. The other is like a pair of scissors, which is used for cutting. So they grab and crush the thing they're going to eat, and then they cut it up with the other claw. And they've got loads of little mouth parts that just dismantle smaller and smaller mouth parts. Take 10 little bits and 10 little bits. And if you turn it upside down and look at their undersides.
Oh, excuse me.
If their tail is pointy.
It's not lobster porn, this.
If the tail is pointy, it's a male. If the tail is rounded, it's a female.
Oh. Right, okay then. So, from your lobsters that are on the shelf, if you can one by one tell us are they male or female, sex them now on live stream. Come on.
Neither a triangle nor a roundy bit.
I built that up for you then. But this is an extra special lobster because this was gifted to us. It was gifted to us, wasn't it?
Look, sparkles. It certainly was.
Yeah, stop stroking the lobster now. So this was a gift at one of the Pole Fests from Mick the Machine's better half, or other half, should I say. Sarah, she brought it along, and it's beautiful. Very sparkly. Special occasions.
Yellow lobster.
Male, female?
Some kind of hermaphrodite. They don't seem to go into that level of detail on the plushies.
Well, that's no good, is it?
No.
We'll just have to guess. I think that's a boy. Looks like a boy. Okay?
Okay.
Move on.
All right. Now you can tell me whether this is a boy or a girl. Also lacking in gender detail underneath.
That's my fault. I made that one. So that's... Anybody want a lobster? Let me know. I'm fabulous at lobsters. That's a boy. Oh, no, it might be a girl, that one.
Doesn't say.
Thank God. Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Last but not least, this is the oldest lobster in the land. Moog photo shoot.
What? Also lacking in anatomical... Oh, no! This one's a boy. It's actually got the detail.
Got pointy willy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's not a mammal. It doesn't have one of those.
Well, it looks like a willy to me. And I've seen plenty in my time.
No.
Which is your favourite one?
No,
that was the topic. What's your favourite one?
Oh, this is my first one, and it's got favouriteness for being first, and it's red, and it's soft, and it's plush, and it's awesome.
Oh, you have to say hi, Paul.
Oh, Yesty Jones has gifted 5 Say Hi Paul memberships. Thank you very much, sir. That is awesome as always. You're a superstar. Absolute superstar. Okay, so what else can I tell you about lobsters? They only go red when you cook them. You're
on 4.43. 4 minutes and 46, 47.
It's a little bit like playing just 48. A minute, talking for a minute without deviation or repetition on the same subject. of lobsters. I find lobsters are something deviation. Oh, right. That was 5 minutes. What's the next one?
Okay, next topic. Come on. Do you want a Discord question while they think of the next topic?
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go for a Discord question. And I'll go with this one first. I'm not going to miss any out, but this might not be in order.
Okay.
Do you think that all the new plastic heresy kits will get rules for 40k in 10th? And if so, will they be able to use users to loyalist and traitors, or just the Imperium as usual?
Am I doing this on the timer, or am I just answering that as a question? Okay. Do I think they will port them over? I don't know, to be honest. Whatever is best suiting their business model, and I don't know what their business model is, so that makes it tricky to know and understand their motivations. If they have a business plan that says it is better to keep the games separate and distinct, then there will be no crossover. If they think they will sell more plastic by letting them do that crossover, then I think they will allow it. What they've done so far is they've let all the vehicles stand for both, which they would probably do. And then it's just up to you to paint the loyalist ones like traitor ones, which hashtag a bit dull. The actual Astartes units, the legionaries, well, they've gone in a very different direction with the aesthetic for modern day Chaos Marines. It's all horns and sigils and extra tentacles growing at your butt. So I don't know that they would necessarily want to sell units in heresy era armor to fulfill the same function. I imagine they wouldn't. My hunch is that they will want to keep both games systems super separate, because if you want a Spartan and you're a 40k player, you have to start playing heresy if you want a Spartan. I don't know. It's the simple answer is probably whatever they think is going to sell the most, because they may want to push more 40k lines with the 40k distinctness, and I imagine allowing people to use the same models for two games goes against the sell as much as we can principle. So I am going to say not.
So after that lobster question, thanks, Chris. After the lobster topic, Robert Lowe says, wouldn't a lobster onesie just turn someone into crab people?
Well,
crab people.
Possibly crustacean people.
Crustacean? Oh, no, that's not as nice. Oh, I'm not sure which I like best.
Because crabs and lobsters, they're not the same thing, but they're similar. They're crustaceans, or crusty, with their exoskeleton. And then when you cut the lid open and you take the top off, and then you draw what's inside, and you're like, remove the top layer. Okay, I'll remove the top layer. Then when you get to the gills, draw the gills. Okay, remove the top layer, remove the top layer, remove the top layer. Dun, 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 dun. That's the bottom of the shell. Looks at the pile of mush on the desk, which must contain the gills. Looks back at the crab. Looks at the pile of mush. Looks at the professor who's walking down the row, seeing how people are doing. Panic, panic, panic. Quick, scoop guts into crab. Put lid back on crab. Slide along bench. Grab different crab. Pick up pencil. Start to draw crab, like taking time. Yes, got away with that one. I possibly digressed a bit there.
You did a little bit, but we haven't got another topic, so I'm going to go with a new question.
Okay.
Yeah? Big bad Peter. Don't try and say that.
That's easy for you to say.
Because he ended up in a bag. He nearly ended up as a bag. So Big Bad Peter says, hey, Paul, would you be collecting the Age of Sigmar magazine that's starting on the 15th of February? And would you suggest it's a good way to be introduced to the Age of Sigmar? Well,
Did we do this, or did I hallucinate this?
Don't know. I think we might have spoken about it.
Okay, so, pardon? Is it a good way of getting in? Yes and no. It's good value for the monies. If you were going to get everything, then if you were going to get everything in it anyway. But it's a little bit of a lots of things. So if you just want lots of things and you're going to you're just going to play some fun games with them, then that's cool. The magazine will definitely have rules for playing games with the models that are in it, so I think you're probably all right. Will you come out of it with two nicely balanced armies that are, I don't know, sort of 1500 or 2k playable? No, not balanced in the sense that I would describe it, but certainly a really good jumping off point and a lot of flavor of different stuff.
I'm going to use this as a topic. It sounds like a question, but it's going to be a topic. Hit that button. Say hi, Paul.
Okay.
Okay, so we got 5 minutes.
Definitely need to talk to that guy. I know that guy.
Okay, then. So do you have a Tyrannid army? If not, then will you be getting one? So answer that question, and then 5 minutes on Tyrannids. Please.
Okay, I mean, Tyrannid is a pretty broad subject.
Well, you've got no problem filling 5 minutes then. Come on.
Right, okay, so do I have a Tyrannid army? Yes. It's all still in its cellophane, because the Tyrannid Codex came out about the time I started to go with 40k. And one of the reasons for the flirtness with 40k, because they have written that they've sort of looked at it and gone, well, if we want termagants need to cost about 10 points. Right, we need to make them good enough to cost about 10 points. So termagants, which narratively are these little gribbly things that should be dangerous in their scores, but there are always scores to them, that's why they're dangerous. They now hit with the the weight of a slice of lemon wrapped around a large gold brick, and destroy all sorts of things they shouldn't do and are horrifically horrible. And it's like, no, their strength is meant to be the fact there's always like 500 million of them against each 2 Space Marines, and that's kind of an even fight. But now it's like, no, it's like, all right, well, two termagants will always kill a Space Marine. It's like, no, wrong. And other similar issues. It's a challenge to produce a list from a Tyrannid Codex that isn't massively overpowering and doesn't do what I feel is reflective of the narrative. So there is no prospect of being able to produce an effective narrative army at this point in time. So it's one of the things that made me go, oh no, about 9th Ed 40k. And so why I won't be playing Tyrannids anytime soon. Now, depending on what happens when the much rumored 10th edition comes along, well, that's entirely different. I may be entirely reinvigorated for the 40k, because I still love the lore, but at the moment I'm just enjoying AOS far too much to force myself to play a game I'm not enjoying a lot. So it's AOS all the way for me at the minute. Maybe the odd bit of.
Shall I do a bit of chili? No,
Hey.
I'll not do that. AOS, it could be an advert, that.
Yeah.
Could do that.
All of sofas?
Oh. In that DFS?
It could be. I think there's a delivery company called AO, and it goes, AO, let's go.
Well, we'll just steal that then and put an S on it. It won't be the same.
Okay. It's entirely different. Any of their lawyers watching.
Yeah, we don't want another fine. Thank you.
What's this? Another business?
Oh, you ready? So this one's from Mick.
But what do I do? I haven't talked for 5
don't
minutes.
worry about that. Don't worry about it. It was a maximum.
Okay.
A maximum.
Right, what now?
Okay, so if there was to be a new threat to the 40k universe that led to rival factions having to ally to survive, what factions do you think would ally well and what factions would not ally so well?
So not what... Am I timing this?
No, it's not a topic.
Okay. So not what would the faction be, but if each faction had to sort of seek an ally. Okay, well, back in the day, Chaos and Orcs could ally together. They are probably the only... They're probably a good pairing because one respects strength and the other wants to utilize tools. So that's probably a good one. The Eldar and the Tau, they're both enlightened enough to get over each other's stuff. And the Tau can think they're going to absorb the Eldar into the greater good, and the Eldar can just look into the future and go, "Yeah, not happening, mate. We'll just sneak around that." But they're both sufficiently pragmatic as to ally well. What else we got? Well, G-Steels and Tyranids, they're a thing all of their own. Who would Tyranids ally with? Well, Tyranids, I always used to say, Necrons and Tyranids make a great pseudo ally because back in the day, all the Necrons did were feast souls to release souls from bodies to feed the Catan. A little bit more nebulous than that, but basically it. And the Tyranids just wanted biomass, and each would kind of look at the other and go, "No soul, no biomass." So just sort of shrug and get on with things. So, so they'd kind of maybe that covers all the biggies, I think. Probably forgetting someone, but I think that's it.
Stephen Pierce. Do you know Stephen Pierce?
I know Stephen Pierce very well.
Stephen Pierce, that Paul knows very well.
We probably go back about 20 odd years.
Whoa, you're old as well then. Oh, did that come out? Better in my head.
No, Stephen's always young because Stephen and I know each other through live roleplay, and he started live roleplay when I was in my mid-20s, so he was always a kid. So he'll always be a kid.
Oh,
so, sorry, Stephen, you're just a kid.
It probably just will be anyway. So, but he does have. We're going to use it as a topic, I reckon.
No more murdering peasants. That's not what wizards do.
Okay. So,
how you got out of being executed for that, I will never know.
That must be a personal joke. That one. Not good for everyone else, but you know, do Angon and Kragnos have similar sized torsos? I want to convert a centaur Angon. So a question, and then you can topic away on Angon.
So Angron. So Stephen actually messaged me about this today on WhatsApp on what's it called? Messenger, and I haven't had a chance to read. I saw it flash up, but work was crazy today. I saw a few things
you've not
flash up, but I've not. I've not done lots of things today. It's like the phone beeped. Is anyone on fire? No. Right, phone goes back down. So I don't know is the answer to the question. I think from what you've said and what you've put on here, you're wanting to do a body swap with Kragnos and Angron. I don't know. I'd have to get both the kits and open them up and compare them, and they're all in different rooms of the house at the minute, so I can't really do that. I'll try and find time.
I'd like to do a body swap.
Okay.
I'll work out who it is, and then if you can make it happen, that'd be great.
Okay. Are you plastic, and do you need to move after I've swapped it?
Depends who you're swapping it with.
Okay.
Nobody swapped for me then.
Um,
Can't imagine.
I mean, you die.
Kind of like now, then, really.
So, Big Bad Peter Gaming has gifted a Say Hi Paul membership. Thank you, Big Bad Peter. Let's go for
Big Bad Peter again.
Little Blue Lobster. Thank you, man.
Oh, these very, very generous people that come on and gift the memberships. That's so kind. Okay. So Mick says, what's taken the longest to make it onto the paint desk and then go onto the shelf fully completed?
No, that's a good question. I'm trying to do some maths now. Because, okay, so of the models I have fully painted, which has taken the longest, that would be my Warhound Titan. Because I was bought it as a 30th birthday present by Storm Shroud from Fast Panda Gaming. Go check out Fast Panda Gaming. They are awesome. And I was bought something else for my 40th birthday, and I was adamant that I was going to finish the Titan before I painted the new thing. So it took me about 9 years to build and paint the Titan. That's right, it was coming up to my 40th birthday, so I didn't want to have to then wait for other things. 9 years it took me for the Titan to get painted and done. Now, there are other things I'm sure I have had for longer that are not currently painted, but things that have, I would say that's the longest. Mick is suggesting that it might be my Orc Stomper. No, you bought me that Stomper as a Christmas present, and it was painted within the month.
Very good. Yeah, that's a while ago.
It is.
Okay, so Mick's with it now. Mick says he's with it now. He understands the topic. Ramble topic, Skaven. 5 minutes.
These are very broad topics. I wish they were narrower topics.
Well, I'm going to pick the topics now. So Skaven.
Okay,
Skaven.
So Skaven. Depending on who you talk to in the old world, the Skaven are either the menace of the underground, or they're made up and they're not real, and giant rats in the sewers just made up crazy talk. But they are real. They are manling. They're very real. They're a menace. Club them to death with your hammer. So Skaven are one of the very few Warhammer races which are only that started off in Fantasy Battle that did not then get ported into 40k, or at least if it was brought into 40k, it was very, very, very short-lived. So Skaven are a race of rat people, and they live in similar ways to how rat colonies live. So rats have massive litters and only the strong survive. It is the same is true of Skaven. Skaven are devious, evil, and conniving, and are always looking for a way to get a leg up over their fellow Skaven by
No wonder there's so many of them.
By backbiting. Well, they just have breeding pits and see whichever ones come out alive.
Filth. I'd be a survivor.
Yeah, most of the ones that survive have killed or eaten their litter mates.
Maybe not then.
They also use they have several sort of stratas of society, the lowest being Skaven slaves, which they are indentured workforces that they also use as a food supplement. So if they get a bit hungry, they just offer some of the Skaven slaves and eat those. They arrange themselves into clans, and each Skaven is always trying to look for a way to kill and take over from the person who is in charge of them, and also look to defend themselves from the person who is directly underneath them. That is, they are always concerned with advancement. They are subdivided into 5 or possibly 6, who knows, main groups or clans. Some of them have very specific ethoses and ways of operation. So Clan Eshin are assassins. They're all about sneaking through the shadows, use of sneaky gases and poison, and hiding in packs of rats and jumping out with poison daggers and stabby stab. They hold daggers with their tails as like a third weapon. Ha ta ta ta.
How's it go?
Ha ta ta ta.
Oh, right, okay.
Yep. Clan Skya are insane chaos scientists who use a form of corruption called warpstone to power their lunatic creations that are just as likely to kill themselves and the Skaven around them as they are the enemy. They are always incredibly potent but incredibly unstable. Then you've got Clan Molder, who are basically the Dr. Frankenstein version of Skaven. They breed giant rats and they stitch together rat ogres from all sorts of horrible parts and giant abominations and herd them onto the battlefield. Then you have Clan Pestilence, who effectively worship Nurgle, or the aspect of the horned rat that is Nurgle. Disease and pestilence and plague, and they are fervent religious fanatics. But they all collectively worship the horned rat, who is their god, who is in AOS land one of the chaos gods, but obviously a lesser chaos god than the big four. You have other sort of structures of Skaven. You have they arrange themselves to clans. Clan Master Clan are where the very rare pure white grey seers who are prophets of the horned rat, where they reside. They are a leading class amongst Skaven. And then there's, I can't remember the other one. Yeah, and they'll often be found in service or concert with other.
That's it.
With other stop stalkings.
That's your 5 minutes on Skaven. So Skaven, there's just lots and lots and lots of them, and I understand you have to have quite a lot for your army, don't you? You have to paint, because I've been painting Skaven, haven't I? So it's
in the narrative. There's always scores and scores and scores of them, and that's where they're dangerous.
Lots of them, and they come from everywhere all of a sudden. So anyway, Softwall says it's just a question. There's an idea that the outsider Catan is the mind behind the Tyranids, right?
I have never heard that, but
spread a rumor.
Start spreading that there rumour.
Spread it.
It could well be. I mean, before they were broken up, the Catan were incredibly powerful. They were star gods. If there was an entire Catan, I mean, you could also argue that the Tyranid race are flesh smiths. They consume and dissolve all biological matter and then breed it into new forms, and the forms that they then weaponize. You could argue that's very little different to the process of biotransference of souls into Necrons. So that's entirely conceivable, and I like it. As a conspiracy, I like it.
He likes it.
I like it.
It's a rumour. Baldy1701 says, Paul, can you settle an argument for me? How many European swallows would it take to carry the holy hand grenade of Antioch. I got there in end.
4.
Oh, right. Is it really?
No. That's someone we know very well being very daft.
All right. Okay. No, then we don't have stupid questions because they catch me out. Stop it. Stephen Pierce is back again. He's known you for 18 years. Oh, would he have known you without a beard?
No.
Ooh.
Nope.
And he says there's a new generation of eternal kids. Yeah.
I believe it.
Oh. Okay. So, Oak Stompers.
As a topic?
Yeah.
I can try.
You do reserve the rights to pass.
I'm going to pass on that one.
You're going to pass on Oak Stompers. Sleepy Sack says, your Oak Stomper looks awesome. Whose Oak Stomper's that? Is that yours? Would that be Mix?
Mix, probably.
Siege of Excelsis.
Okay. I can ramble about the Siege of Excelsis, but this will not be the first time that people have heard me ramble about the Siege of Excelsis.
Not everybody tunes in all the time.
So, the Siege of Excelsis is a story of how Kragnos was released from his tomb, and right the way through to the discovery of the Cruel Boys, and at the end of AOS 2nd edition, GW brought out 4 books that had some world-changey type stuff in. One was called Kragnos, one was called Morathi, Teclis, and Be'lakor. And they all had big plot changes in them, and they had stories associated with those big plot changes. And they introduced a whole bunch of miniatures and so on. So the Siege of Excelsis is a story arc, as I mentioned, and it's a story arc that is the next campaign that we're going to be filming and playing out on the channel. I've spent quite a bit of time mapping out what all the games are going to be, and it's a lot. It's going to run in chapters for quite a long period of time because there's a lot of story to tell, and I am going to take my time with take my time with it and enjoy the process. So what I am thinking of doing is putting sort of breaks in between it and doing bits of other things so that it doesn't basically take up a year's worth of battle reports, because some people will love that, but other people are like, well, for a whole year's worth, and I'd be like, yeah, I want a break at various points as well. So it's the next big campaign. The basic premise of which is that Kragnos manages to get out of his prison cell and realizes that the world has changed dramatically, sees Excelsis on the horizon and go, oh no, not quite. So the world's changed dramatically, and he decides he's going to go and he's going to go home and meet up with the other Dorokkari. I can't remember what his race is. See, I want to say Dothraki, but that's obviously Game of Thrones. It sounds kind of similar to that. And he gets there, and they're all long dead. And so he basically decides he's going to destroy everything. And along the way, there's a whole bunch of Gargants and Ogres and Uruks and Grots sort of end up meeting up with him. Some of them have some fights, and they all go, "You're awesome. What is it you're doing?" And he's going, "I'm going to go kill all them." And they go, "Great, can we come with you?" And he goes, yeah, all right. I'm going to knock all that stuff down. Yeah, let's go knock all that stuff down. And then they rampage after the city of Celsius. And there's in parallel, there's a malevolent chaos plot running in parallel to try and undermine the city and take it over by an entity known as the Newborn, which comes into existence after Marathi Kane had siphoned power off from Slanesh Marathi had siphoned power off from Slanesh in order to become Marathi Kane, which is what happens in the Marathi book. But it has the unintended side effect of creating this entity called the Newborn that then goes on to put together this nefarious plot to bring down Excelsis and to sit on its throne. And they end up with there are lots of tools and manipulations and things happening all the way through. And there's a couple of witch hunters called the Vendensks who are trying to stop it all from happening. And it's all very cool.
That's it. 5 minutes.
Okay.
Got sweet in my mouth.
Okay, well, just hit me with a topic.
I'll hit you with the topic of Orc space travel.
So, Orc space travel is. Are we talking space Orc? Oh, well, yeah, it must be space Orc because it's space.
I'm glad you've done that.
I've dropped my pen. I need to fiddle. Good. No, I need to fiddle.
It was banging about.
I need to fiddle. I'm a fiddler. So there are a number of different ways orcs can travel in space. But some of them are slightly more intentional and intellectual than others. Orcs have a sort of an inbuilt genetic compulsion to occupy hulks and asteroids and other similar devices that are going to be drawn into the warp and therefore pop out somewhere else. It's almost like the equivalent of animals seeing logs floating down the river and just having the instinctual desire to jump on the log to see where they end up. So whenever hulks appear in a system, orcs always rush to it to try and board them in order to go from A to B. And whilst they're in transit, they spend the entire time dismantling as much of the hulk as possible and turning them into trucks and guns and gubbins and all sorts of shiny dackers. But orcs also have excuse me.
Oh, to stick with the orc theme, Big D says Gaskell
Thraka. Gaskell Thraka. I'm going to have to pass on Gaskell Thraka because I don't actually know that much about the guy. I know he's a goth and it's Armageddon and it's a massive war. That's about all I know. I haven't done much reading in the way of Gaskell, so I apologise. The other things orcs can do space travel wise is they know how to build warp drives. Orc mechs just instinctively know how to build ships that can travel in the warp, which is bizarre then that they often choose to ride with the flotsam rather than actually building flotilla that they then use to go to a specific place. But they also don't have astropaths. I mean, they have weirboys, but they are not. They're not so good at steering space hulks. I don't think I could do much more on that.
That's fine. I'll do a question for you from the Discord, so we'll take one out of there. So, are GW in danger of pricing new or young people out of the hobby? we have spoken about this before, and it's and we actually I had a long chat with Winters about this when he last came over, about exactly that, and also Squawk, thank you for that, because also about like people that, you know, it's there's not a lot of money around at the minute. People have got less and less money, you know, and they still want to keep doing the hobby. So yeah, Big D, I totally agree. They are in danger of doing that, and Winters was sort of the number one up there, banging the drum and saying that's so true, because there's also there's been this period of social isolation where people have not been out very much, and now we can all start mixing again. All the prices of everything's gone up, and people just want to get into it, and it is quite expensive. So unless you know someone that does it, or unless you've got a little windfall of cash, we were just saying, how do I say normal people? I don't mean normal people. I mean people who are working on a budget. How do they buy it?
So ultimately, GW is a business, and it is accountable to shareholders, and their approach is to maintain the same margins. So spending X always yields Y, and as the cost of X goes up, they always want to maintain the same margin, which means prices go up and up and up and up, or even increase the margins. Their business model isn't sell lots and sell it cheap, because you can achieve a similar result with volumes. They are a margins business, and until it gets to the point where they have priced themselves so high they see their margins reduce, they won't change tack.
And it was just us talking about it at the time, but we both said that is really sad.
It is. Well, it's no different. It is sad. It's no different from, say, Premier League football, where that is there's a high entry cost for buying football merchandise or going to see football games, and it is a reflection of what the market will withstand and what people will pay.
Absolutely, but you do pose the risk of, we're constantly wanting new people, we're constantly wanting to get kids involved so that it carries on.
It doesn't necessarily translate that what we want is what GW wants. Because as long as they're meeting their goals, whatever they might be, I obviously don't know them, as long as they're meeting their goals, they will continue with the same business practices.
But answering the question, do we think they're in danger? Possibly.
Could be.
In danger of doing that. So, okay, I'll do one more question from Discord, and then we've got another topic. Are you more likely to play... Oh, sorry, this is from Mock, or MOK Mock. So, are you more likely to play Old World Fantasy than Horus Heresy on the channel? Or are they equally far away?
Interesting question.
Interesting question.
Are they equally far away? Well, Old World will be another dozen armies I have to collect. It'll depend on the game. I always had whilst I always enjoyed it, I always had trouble with Fantasy Battle, thinking a turn ahead with the maneuvering of all the units. Ironically, I think Old World is more likely than Horus Heresy, because I still have an interest in playing out scenarios in the Old World, because they've set it sufficiently before the end times to mean there's a whole host of stuff that you can play out that just isn't written and isn't determined and is still an unknown factor. Whereas Horus Heresy, I don't believe they've done that. So yes, I would say Old World is more likely.
Okay. We got a topic from bear with me, I've just lost it. From Mrs. Mick the Machine, Sarah, the lovely Sarah. Painting oak terrain.
Painting orc terrain.
Paul is now making a note, which I've never ever seen him do before, but he is making a note. Okay.
So, painting orc terrain. Painting orc terrain, I think, is very similar to painting orc vehicles. Although I haven't, a disclaimer, I haven't painted any orc terrain, but orc stuff is very. It's reused, it's recycled, it's mishmashed together, which means it can be almost any number of things. It can be all sorts of random pieces and parts from random disparate sort of donors that they take the metal plates or the doors or the wheels or things from. But they can also then sometimes paint over them. So they might take a blue door and 3 or 4 different bits of metal from different things that are all, one's corrugated, one's all different colors because they come from different vehicles or different buildings. Shove them together into a barricade, hammer it solid, and then the grots come along and sort of paint it red so that because they're evil sons, so you've got sort of old bits underneath, possibly all different colors with very crude painting on top, and also they don't think of rust prevention, so there are bits that will be all scuffed to hell. Some of those will have started to go rusty. Maybe some of the rusty bits will have been painted over. Things will also, when they've actually been used, they will pick up all sorts of chips. Some of them will be fresh, some of them will be old. So you've got this big potential mix of colours and grime that can build up on them over time, potentially new, fresh colours painted over top, spanning multiple pieces of different things underneath. Some of it can be rusty, some of it can have chips and scarring and battle damage in it. The possibilities are virtually endless with orc terrain. And it also kind of depends on whether there's a strong clan influence around the encampment in question. Whether if it's all evil sons, you'd expect it all to be red. If it's all death skulls, you expect it to be blue. Or you might have a big war band that has a big tribe that's got elements from different clans in there. So you might, in a settlement, have some bits that are yellow because they're badmans, yellow and black, or some bits that are black and red and grey because it's blood axes. It's a lot of potential variety.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry because we've got to leave it there because you did promise me celebratory job cake.
I did.
And our cake away has just arrived. And I know that sounds very futile to everyone, but it you promised me.
Cake was promised.
Cake was promised. So that's been really, really good. I've really enjoyed that, flitting about from one to another. I think that's quite good.
It's been different.
There are some questions that we still will pick up again next week. But yeah, I think all in all.
Oh, you've captured other things from there.
I've captured other things. Yeah, I've captured other things from there. Captured things from the Discord, and we'll pick those up next week, next Tuesday. Tune in.
Okay, good stuff.
Okay, so thank yous. We'd like to thank, as always, Mick. Thank you, Mick, and thank you for your questions and the keeping them coming for us tonight. And Kev, Yestin Jones, 5 Say Hi Paul memberships, which is really great. Thank you again.
Thank you, Yestin.
Bolde, Sanguary God, Christian, McBride, Lucamatic, and Banished Pest 2 all took yesing up on his memberships. I can't think of the word. Flipping egg. It's because I'm thinking of cake. Anyway, Big Bad Peter as well. A membership, and GFO, which is a fabulous name. GFO took that. So thank you so much for doing that. That is really kind. And super.
Big thank you to Crimson for all the admining and organising of me.
Yeah, and that's it. We'll see you all next week.
Okay, see you in the next one, guys.
Say bye, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Bye.
Bye.